Yes, please.
Hello
Ja.
everyone.
We zitten op 10 te wachten.
Yeah, English. Hello. Good to see you.
Nice to have you, and interesting that you're here. What is the motivation to listen
Oh, yeah.
to
Yeah, or just
Josephine? Is it the subject or?
So I'm a frequent visitor.
All right.
But I'm interested in.
Oh.
I don't sing myself, but I'm an opera fan.
Okay, well, as long as
So
it's...
that is of course an interesting component.
yeah.
Okay, I hope... Can people at home let me know if they can hear me via the chat?
Nice.
For many what? Sorry, for?
For many religions,
Yeah.
this concept.
Yeah.
Also, mystic in Greece is coming from the word mu, and that's related to breathing.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's nice. It's interwoven in a lot of concepts. Yeah. And I've met you at a previous one, I think, at the one of Bram. Yeah, he's maybe also coming. So yeah. It's nice how you recognize people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. And Bram is a driver too.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I'm gonna explain that what a driver is just in a while.
And it's going to be also interesting to see if there are new research or outcome also.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the presentation.
Do you know each other all? Yes?
Yes.
It's one group. Okay.
No, happy family.
One?
In this case, we are real family.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
This is my son. And yeah, we are quite regular. So.
You're visiting Glow as well, or is it? Okay. No. Yeah.
No, not
She's Belgian.
I'm
From Eindhoven. Yeah,
Belgisch Limburg.
And Turkish.
Turkey.
Turkey. Okay.
And we are from Venlo.
Oh yeah, that's also abroad. No? Oh, that's nice. We have an international group.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's how we say it. Yeah. So we're gonna introduce ourselves. I'm from the Dutch Design Foundation, and Josephine is I call you a sensorial designer, but I don't know how you present yourself.
I never know how to do that. It's always so hard to put that this adjective in front of the designer part.
Yeah.
But sensorial I like.
I think it's beautiful, and it's behelst. It covers a lot what you do.
Yeah. But they have some technical difficulties. So.
Yeah, it's YouTube.
There was an issue with the live stream, so that's why we're a bit late.
If you see us when we have to eat, hij weet dadelijk op de TV zijn op het Duits.
Oh, gefeliciteerd.
Dus dan is het niet uit.
Nee, logisch.
Hij is gewoon, snap ik.
Ja,
Gefeliciteerd.
mooi.
We're just gonna start, because...
It's electrical engineering.
So, we have some technical difficulties, but we managed at least to get it right for everyone online. So everyone online, thanks for waiting. Thanks for your patience. My name is Margot, and welcome at the Innovation Café. For the people that are here the first time, the Innovation Café is an event where we show what Eindhoven has to offer in the field of tech, design, and knowledge. And today we have an event that's organized together with the Josephine Foundation and specifically Design Works. And Katja, you can borrow mine for a second because we only have two. Sorry. Katja is the one who organizes it from Dutch Design Foundation. So I want to give the word shortly to Katja. Sorry for this, but we have to share my microphone because we have limited microphones. So hereby, I'm going to give you the microphone. So I'm going to, oops.
Oh, fancy.
Give that to you.
We're gonna share.
Maybe you can just hold it like that.
Yeah?
Put it
I just hold it.
Okay.
Okay.
Or put it on
Yeah.
your collar for a second. So
Okay,
then,
perfect.
it should work. You don't have to hold it then.
So,
Yeah,
I'll do it a little bit higher.
that is fine. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello, Margot. Nice to have you. Nice to be here, and nice that you're giving a platform to the Dutch Design Foundation and the designers that we have in our community. I'm Katja Lucas, and I'm program manager for Driving Dutch Design, and I'm working for the Dutch Design Foundation, and that's the organization behind the Dutch Design Week. So the Dutch Design Week you all know, but the Dutch Design Foundation is a little bit, I think, less familiar for you. But what we do, we have a podium platform, and we have a design works platform. And I work for that second part, and there we have different kind of labels. We have World Design Embassies, we have the What If Labs, we have, now I'm thinking about it, Design Districts, that's one, and we have Driving Dutch Design. And I'm working together with my colleague Patrick from the BNO, that's the platform for design agencies here in the Netherlands. And together we take care of the program Driving Dutch Design, and Driving Dutch Design is a program for entrepreneurs, designers who have their own studios, and they're having their studio for 3 till 5 years, and they need support in their entrepreneur skills. So we have a 10 months program that they have 15, 16, 17 master classes, and they get a personal coach. And the third track is that I help them to understand what kind of deliverable they can have during the Dutch Design Week. So you have to imagine that you have an exhibition, you have to start in February to get the money, to know what kind of exhibition you will have, what kind of program you will have around it. And this year they also built a studio where they have live streams, where they have podcasts and so on. And Driving Dutch Design is a program with 3 equal partners, and that's the ABN AMRO, it's the main sponsor also from Dutch Design Week, and Dutch Design Foundation, and last but not least, the BNO, what I already said, together with Patrick, we take care of the program. So, and tonight we give a platform to a driver. We call the 23 studios that we support, we call them drivers. And one of them is Josephine. And Josephine just finished next week you're going to finish the total program. We have a Dragon's Den, and Josephine is going to take the floor tonight. So I'm very excited to hear your story, and yeah, that's what it is. So
Let's start and listen to her then.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
we walked that
Are
way
we together?
Your mic is definitely on.
I think so. Yes. Hello everyone, good evening. Thank you Margot and Katja for giving me this platform to present my current research. And thank you all for being here. It feels a bit like a support you all said your family, because it's of course still a bit strange to present in front of here in front. My name is Josephine, and I represent my studio Uncoated, and I'm fascinated by the breath. And this started already since I was a child, and I will tell you a bit more about this and my ongoing research. But first I'll show you a project that I've created and designed, and it's called Aiki, and it's Japanese, and it stands for attunement with the breath. And here you'll see a short video. This was a short glimpse of Aiki, and as I said before, I was already inspired when I was a child. When I got very stressed or I was fearful, I would always lie on the belly of my father to calm myself down. And this inspired me a lot when I was working with the breath and thinking on how can I make it more sensorial and more accessible, to feel it intuitively instead of trying to understand it from a machine point of view. And that is this result, and I collaborated with a foundation that is working on preventing children to become traumatized when they get hospitalized. And this is a cuddle that they train with at home to sort of learn a certain breathing rhythm that is proven to calm ourselves down. And then they bring this cuddle into the hospital context to have something they can hold on to and trust in such a fearful surrounding, most probably. So my first question is to you. How many times you think you inhale per minute? You can just raise your hand and mention an amount. I will not judge. 50? Inhale. On average, we inhale 7 times and then exhale also 7 times, so 14. And my next question is, how many times a Tibetan monk does the same thing? 4, exactly. So they inhale and exhale in total 9 times per minute. So I found this very interesting to see because it shows what a difference there is within our Western society and how they are actually breathing and what an impact that has on our experience of our body, for instance. And I would invite you to maybe later on to try to do the same thing and experience how it feels. Because this is the question, is the breath able to make us healthier? Scientists have proven that it's the case. The breath is directly linked to our nervous system. So by controlling our breath according to a certain rhythm, we're able to slow ourselves down. And from a very stressful situation, we can get into a more relaxed state of being. Is there someone who thought this wouldn't be the case, that we would be able to make ourselves healthier? Or no. The thing is, actually, even if we train this, we enlarge our lung capacity, so we can really train our breath to absorb more oxygen, which I find fascinating. But it seems that we forgot a bit how to breathe. Here you see how the skull evolved over time. And fascinating enough, our nose, the entrance to our nose, became twice as narrow as before. And this is causing a lot of problems towards our breathing. You might not know, but the mouth is a very big issue. All the breath scientists say the best way to breathe is through the nose, and you need to try to inhale and exhale as much as possible through the nose. And you might think why it's difficult. It's proven to be difficult because a certain disevolution has taken place. And this is something I never heard of before, but apparently our bodies adapt throughout evolution, and it doesn't per se need to be positive for our health. And this, of course, has a big impact because proven to be is that 90% is breathing wrong. And this has immense impact on how people sleep, but also on snoring behavior. So how to breathe? I said through the nose mostly, but the key is in the amount, so slow breathing. So trying to breathe as minimum amount of times as possible. So it's said that if we breathe a lot and we inhale a lot, we think that we consume more and we get more oxygen in our body, but actually only 40% is then absorbed. So the more we train, the better we are to turn this oxygen into a resource that is good for our body. And now I would like to invite you to try to do the exercise together and breathe with this rhythm that you'll see of a circle. And I would advise you to try to do it with the nose, if possible, and focus when you inhale on your belly. So when you inhale, try to visualize that the oxygen is going towards your belly, and then exhale, it goes up. So how was the experience? Was it difficult? Was it easy? It was short, of course, I'm sorry for that. Was it right? Was it helpful to visualize it, that you see something moving? Yeah, as a guide. There's something interesting. There is a 5.5 second rule. Throughout history, a lot of cultures have the same kind of cycle of how they recite prayer, for instance, or how they pronounce the word Om. There's always this 5.5 second duration until the exhale comes and the sort of a pause in between, and then the next 5.5 seconds goes. This is taking part in mudras, that is in the Hinduist, by the Hindus, sorry, and also in the Buddhist. They use the word Om, but also all the mantras they perform are exactly this time duration, Christian prayer, and many more. So it's fascinating that all these religions and cultures are far apart, or I mean, from different areas, but they're all based on the same cycle of the breath. So that they seemingly had a certain amount of knowledge that we don't know anymore. And that's what I noticed when I started this research, is that there is such a lack of literature. There are almost no art projects around the breath, surprisingly. The theory around it is dating before Christ. So I only found one book of a guy really interviewing opera singers and people who dive apnea and all these things, but the rest, it's a bit of a lost field. And so I started diving a bit further, because in design, that's why I'm showing all my research. It's not a one-way street and it's not linear. It's never perfect. It's a bit of a mess, and I'm currently in this mess. And I'm taking you with me according to what is happening now, and I'm very curious in what your thoughts are. And I think that there is a reason for us of how we're actually consuming nowadays, that there's a certain dependency of our mental health on consuming goods for them to help us with our mental health. And I find this as a designer very difficult, because as you saw before, I created Aiki, and I came in a conflict afterwards, because there was a lot of good response of parents of children that said, no, we need this is good, give it to us. And I got sort of, how do you say that, in dubio, whether this is the right way to do it. Of course there's demand, but is it the right way of serving that demand? And is there not an underlying issue that we should address? And maybe this sounds complicated, but if I would help not only children, that's a bit of a difficult case, because I think we always need to help children. What is the end goal? what if I help people to breathe better, and perhaps, of course, they sleep better, that's amazing, but what if the result is that they can work more efficient and harder? Is that a good result? Is that something that I want to contribute to? And this poses me to the next point, is that well-being, is that something that we are responsible for as individuals, or is it something that the state is responsible for and the system that we are a part of? And nowadays, because of our liberal system, it's posed a lot that mental health is the responsibility of an individual. They're saying you're having a chemical imbalance, you're having difficulties, you solve it. And I find, of course, we need to be empowered, but there is a challenge herein. If we're not acknowledging that this is something that is happening on a very large scale, and if we continue to focus on ourselves, the problem still remains. And then what happens to the people that don't have access to these kind of tools? And that leads to my future vision, is that I believe in creating new spaces of interaction and letting people come together and collectively experience what they don't recognize anymore or have forgotten about their own bodies and senses. And I mentioned before, there's a lot of background in religion, in commerce, and I feel that this could be in between that point, putting it in public space for everyone to have access to it and not making us dependent on it. It becomes a sort of a reminder of what is possible and how we can sort of work with our own body to become healthier. And hereby the individual for me is central. So I see in my design not the surroundings and the objects, they all play a function for the visitor, but the visitor's experience is key. And I feel that, that's why I'm showing this, technology plays a crucial role herein to give us biofeedback on how our body is performing. So what is our body temperature? What is our heart rate? It says a lot about our state of being. And I feel that nowadays we consume, but the feedback is not taken into consideration that much. So I hope to create environments where experiences of the visitor create the work. And this is a question to you, because if I create this work, I need to work with the reactions of our body. And this will make sure that I will have to collect data and do something with this data. But this is another ethical question. Am I allowed, or should I be willing to work with this data, and what should I do with it afterwards? Because there's an immense gap of knowledge of how we as emotional beings are experiencing spaces like this. So I'm curious if you have thoughts on this, and otherwise we go to the Q&A.
Data is not information, is not knowledge. So be careful.
Yeah.
Just collecting data is not necessarily leading you in the right direction.
Could you explain a bit more?
Yeah, well, you have to know very well what you collect the data for.
Yeah.
So I think if you're not really aware of your knowledge gap, say, that would be a motivation to collect data to create information. If you're not aware of that, you might just be drowned in a big amount of data and be completely misled.
Yeah, totally. And what if, for instance, let's say this is the space that I've created, and I give you all a heart rate measurement to measure how you're responding to my Aiki that I've created, and how long it takes before my object sort of brings you into a state of mind of calmness.
So there you already assume that the heart rate is indicative of your state of calmness. I guess that might be the case.
Yeah.
So I personally wouldn't have a problem with that if that is your question. And I also guess that the goal of your Aiki is indeed, as you said, to calm down people. So yeah, that would be a need to
And do you think it would be important to give the individual the choice that I asked you before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, this measurement in this case relies on this assumption that the heart rate is indeed correlated to that. Yeah? So I will challenge you and say, why don't you just ask people afterwards how they felt? Isn't that maybe more important?
Okay. So,
Than having many time traces of heart rates and breathing and whatever.
yeah,
I'm with you, but nevertheless keep that in mind. Yeah? Sometimes it's maybe simpler.
I agree with you that I would not only want to stay with the data. I'm myself not per se a data person, although I'm trying to learn. But what I also really believe in is that we have an unconscious mind. And that's what I try to bridge with the data, while still, of course, wanting the response of the people. Thank you. Yeah. I had a
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your beautiful presentation. I was sitting and thinking that I absolutely have to, it's maybe more comment rather than a question.
Yeah.
I'm just probably entering Q&A session. I will be happy to share with you the latest report of Deloitte. They made a beautiful report, Art for Well-Being.
Okay.
And there they're also mentioning all the questions you touched upon today. So I will share it with you, well, maybe later if I can have your information. I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
How art actually can help us be well, be healthy,
Yeah.
etc., etc. Thank you.
So I'll go to yeah, so that's it. I'm very open to talk to all of you. Already these two feedbacks were amazing. That's why I'm here, to learn and to improve and get feedback. And also to look for collaborations. So if you know someone that could fit this project really well, or yourself, really come up to me, because that's what design is about. We're doing it together, and then it becomes even stronger, I think. So thank you. If there's a question, yeah.
There are nowadays some cultural foundations, for example, European Cultural Foundation, Prince Claus Fund, Mondrian Foundation. There are more in Europe, at least I'm mentioning, which are based in the Netherlands, and they even have nowadays, I think it's kind of post-pandemic track of subsidies for cultural projects where art and well-being are involved. So you might also maybe take a look at, kind of these kind of foundations, organizations. I'm sure there are more of them also on the European level.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. That would help a lot. The thing that I'm challenged with a lot now is finding a space to collaborate with, and also finding a way of getting a diverse amount of people in there. That it's not only the people that are already very accustomed to working with the breath, but exactly people that are less used to it and would like to try. So this is the next challenge.
To kind of contradict myself, so indeed data collection makes sense. Isn't it kind of indirect to look at the heart rate? I mean, I guess that has been done by medical doctors already. So you want to measure the breathing. Have you thought about using acoustics like microphones? You could probably just listen to us here and learn very easily how we are breathing.
That's a nice way.
That's maybe much less invasive
Yeah.
than giving people bracelets, and then you just repeat the measurement that has been done by medical professionals already, the correlation between breathing and heart rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I will it was more a comment. Yeah, it's. You want to? Okay. Maybe with the microphone.
So my question was whether she considered to use acoustic methods, like for instance microphones, instead of putting sensors on the people that are expected to have a certain breathing behavior. That would be a probably less invasive method to measure the impact of certain interventions with the breathing.
Yeah.
people then have.
Yeah, so first of all, that's also another reason why I find data collection to be very crucial in this project, is that my father is a doctor also, by the way, and a lot of doctors, they never thought that the breath could have an impact on our health. And that was quite shocking for me. And while there has been research that, of course, people that are very fit and athletes, they train their heart rate variability to sort of see if their breath is controlled. And that's why I think I wanted to start with this, but there are many other options that I should try and explore. And it's going to be a challenge to really think how many senses am I going to trigger. As you said, to be not so invasive, but at the same time, make sure that what is being measured is right away changing the environment, because that's crucial for me. That, let's say, this light that you saw before, it's like a simple idea, but that according to our breath, the light will adjust. So it will show us, guide us towards a breath that is more beneficial, or would show us that it's not going well at all, for instance, that we're really stuck in our breath. So that I find intriguing, if the people make the work. And then what you said with the sound is amazing, that actually the collective sound.
You're just listening.
Yeah.
Have you thought about other methods to influence the breathing besides, I mean, this optical stimulus is obvious, it works also very well with the test.
Yeah.
And we know, music and poetry, it's an easy thing, but have you thought about something else?
Ooh. Yeah, frequencies of the sound.
Sound, yes.
It's very strong. Also of certain frequencies on the floor of a mat, rubber mat. You want to join me on the project?
So you could have patterns on the floor when you walk. Like the step with on stairs, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And smell, you did not consider.
Smell is extremely challenging.
Yeah, I know.
I love smell, but it's super subjective.
Yeah.
I was thinking of wind, using wind power also, and weight. Because, for instance, if you breathe, if you press more here, you start to breathe better towards your belly. So the suit that pressures our chest, for instance, all these things I'm trying to prototype very quickly, and then place it in that space that I hope to find, and then test whether the data is right or that I need to measure other things. Yeah, so I'm really in need of a data expert, I think, to sort of bring my thoughts in. Yeah.
I think within sports, there's also quite a lot of knowledge about breathing and like what you just explained. Like if you're picking something up, you breathe in a different way. And I remember I had a Fitbit a few years ago, and there were these exercises like you were showing, that if you wanted to calm down or something, that you sort of just visualize it and then breathe with it. So maybe within the sports industry, you could get some information about like just long-term information about breathing.
Yeah, and how it evolves, you mean also?
Yeah, and the benefits it has for the exercises you're doing, or just the activities you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, the crazy thing is this, I really look forward to speaking to all these people, is that apnea divers are able to hold their breath for 12 minutes. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And they say that everyone should be able, if you don't have a lung issue, of course, to be able to get there. But that's, I think, also my risk of the research, of not getting trapped into the athlete part, because that's not my aim. It's really for you and me, everyone who's not conscious of the breath, to make it accessible.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good point.
No. Yeah. It's very. I really like the topic because also because of a personal experience of mine. I used to do more regular yoga before I moved to Eindhoven, actually. And there, my yoga teacher was also giving another course, which was called pranayama, It's a breathing meditation, I call it. And so the first time I got into this lecture, I was like, okay, it seems like it's 1 hour and we will sit and we will just breathe. It's like so boring. What is gonna happen at the end of this 1 hour? And then I have a scoliosis in my, so it's not like straight bones I have. So like I started to go there every week, and then after this 1 hour breathing session, I was standing more straight, and I was feeling almost no pain, and of course it helped me mentally a lot. It gave me another perspective, because we don't really realize in general how important breathe is, and we don't really sit and, okay, let's see how am I breathing now. We don't do that, but these sessions were really helping for me to see, first of all, like they were letting us to breathe normally, like in our normal pace, and then I was realizing that I was like, and then it's really influenced a lot physically and also mentally, and that's why I find this really interesting. And also what I noticed, that it's so easy for us as human beings to forget things. So I think it's also very precious to remind that, okay, breathe is important. How do you breathe today? Like, I think this is something interesting. So also another thing, to experience it by yourself. So for instance, what we have experienced here, it was so nice to follow the breathing there as well. So also maybe one suggestion can be, how were you feeling before you enter the experimental area, and how do you feel after the experiment? It's like, it's very obvious if you compare your feelings, and yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So you clearly say that there's a need to repeat it, the experience, that it's not a one-off thing, it's really to keep people guided and maybe record their experience, and yeah.
After you experience this feeling, like, okay, after 1 hour, I felt like, okay, that's really interesting. Like, I was sitting down for an hour, I was just breathing, nothing else. But I felt like I felt so energetic. My sculpture was straight, and it was a really, really interesting experience. That's why I kept going to this pranayama sessions all the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have a thought in addition of the speaker before me. Is there an idea? I want to ask you, how do you think about that? But is it an idea that the children at school learn to breathe, and how should they develop it, and what it means for them? Is there did you think about that? I was interesting. I was curious about that.
I didn't consider it yet. Of course, with Aiki and the cuddle, I felt that this is something that could be fun and also intuitive for children to experience. But surprisingly, the feedback that I got a lot was from the parents and grown-ups saying, we have more issues, help us. We need to learn how to breathe. So like, okay, so there's a lot to do, I think, yeah.
If you already learn as a child,
yeah, I agree.
Then you have less troubles, I think, if you are an adult.
Can I add something on that? Additional to these pranayama sessions, I also took private courses from like someone who was teaching in like theatrical in theater actually. So I wanted to use my voice in a more proper way, and I wanted to use my breath. So in that way I could speak and I could make better sounds when I was talking. So it was very interesting experience as well. What he told me that so he gave me an example. He told me that, oh, look at one child. When he wants to scream, you need to close your ears because he screams a lot, because they have less stress and they have more void on their lungs and etc. So then they can use their breathe, and they can use their all capacity, and they can make a lot of sound. However, since when we grow up, we got more stress and we don't realize it, but we really stress our lung and this part, and somehow unconsciously we really close ourselves, and then we don't really make sound enough. And so I was very surprised by having a comparison between a child and me, because I knew myself, if in any case if I needed to scream, I couldn't make the same sound one child could make, because I really stress myself very easily. And then these breathing exercises were helping me to relax down, and I need to find something here in Eindhoven as well. What I realized.
I have one for you where I go also.
Yeah. So I'm quite happy that it's kind of a reminder for me as well. I think this is what all we need. Yeah.
I think we can discuss.
Last question.
I'm staying, so.
What are you looking for, Josephine? Is it something what you need right now? Is for the public? What are you looking for to bring this further? Is there something you're looking for? Can you give an idea and where you want to be in the next 5 years, and what do you need then?
Yeah. So first of all, I need a space. That's the highest importance. And I'm looking into working with institutions, but that's another topic, because I feel there's a very interesting ground where they take the museum visitor to a next level of perception. But I would be in need of someone who's very good with technology, and a data engineer, or someone who's able to process the data and make it into a coherent story, and that we learn from it. And you know, that I do really the experiential part, and someone else is really the information driver. Yeah. And then I just want to get started and test and try and see how people respond. Yeah.
Did you already look for connections with the innovation space in the TU? Or
someone recommended me that. Yeah. I will contact them. That's a good idea. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You will stay with the lady?
Yeah.
Then, if you don't have any more questions for our audience at home or at online, I will just double check that there's no more questions online. Yep. Okay. Good. Then I want to thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
So can we give her a bit of an applause?
Thank you.
And also the Suzanne Foundation, of course, for making it possible. For the people at home, once again, thanks for your patience before, and thanks for watching. We hope that you will join us again another time here live on location at Kazerne. For now, I want to thank you and hope to see you again next week. For the people here, please join us at the bar where you can go and have a drink. If you did bring a glass, please bring it with you, and we'll talk more there. So thanks.
Cool. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Let's have a drink together, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, you're still here. So you like the video. If you want, subscribe and click the bell.